a book. It's a pie and cake and sort of dessert book by Linda Molino's. Pies and Cakes. I should have brought the book, but I didn't. But anyway, that's where the basics of this came from, and it's so I brought you a taste this morning.
Excellent.
Get your microphone straight over there.
Well, guess what I brought you?
I don't know. It looks like a bag.
I brought you a bag of empty containers.
Well, look at there.
Because I want you to know how grateful I am that you always bring me things. And one of my New Year's resolutions this year was to express my gratitude by returning containers, and not only returning, but purchasing a new one every time I go to the grocery store. It's my New Year's to bring to you.
Well, thank you. Because I do run out. I'm bad about...
I know, container etiquette. I thought that would be a good thing to mention to our listeners this morning.
Because I think people who cook and share, often lose all of their containers by doing so.
You and Kara have such nice containers.
Oh, do we? Well,
yes.
good.
Well, I mean, you do snapware. So I'm trying to stay within your theme.
Thank you. That's really good.
And I'll get to take another one today.
There you go. We'll trade.
But I just want you to notice, I mean, I'm bringing 3 back.
Three for one. Okay.
3 for 1.
I like it. I like the odds. So Saturday, I was in Long Beach, and Pastor Christiane moderating a panel on a book festival called Homegrown, a writers, I forget exactly the title, Homegrown, a Writers Exchange, I believe. This is their 3rd year. It's organized and put together by the library, the Hancock County and Harrison County Library Association, and they have this one-day book festival, and you moderated the Art of Cookbook panel last year, and I did it this year. So the main thing that came out of mine was a couple of my panelists did not show up, so I ended up, really, it was like a conversation with Matt Haynes, and Matt Haynes is a New Orleanian. He's actually a New Yorker, by way of New York to New Orleans. He's written this amazing book called The Big Book of King Cake.
It is big. I think you should twirl it around here since we're in
the monstrous book of King Cake. So Matt and I had an hour-and-a-half conversation about king cakes, the history back to ancient Rome, by way of France to America and to Louisiana and New Orleans. But his book is outstanding. He's a great researcher. He's a journalist and a great researcher. He also plays the trombone. But Matt Haynes, if you're interested in king cakes, and there's this time of year, there's a lot of chatter, a lot of social posts, a lot of conversation about what is the best king cake. And he features 75 bakers, Carol.
That's good, man.
And he says there are many more.
Yep.
But he chose, for the purposes of this book, to feature 75. So, if you're interested in
there's
king
always
cakes,
volume 2.
And, well, there's already a children's book.
Well, good.
He's come out with a companion. It's a children's king cake book.
Well, you know, we've talked before about King Cake Depot, which is a business in New Orleans, and I think they have over 100 king cakes during season, and people can go in there and sample. And we found out about it when Robert St. John was doing his research for Loblolly Bakery, and he would go down there and get like 30 king cakes
get a van full.
And taste them. But all I can say about your panel is it was lucky that it was you that showed up, because you know a lot about king cakes, and it's tough to talk an hour and a half.
Well, I learned a lot, because first of all, Matt is a really smart cat, and he is a talker. And if you got to talk to someone for an hour and a half, you got to hope they're a talker, because there are talkers
indeed.
And there are not talkers. And Matt, my friend, is a talker, and we had a blast. And I'm going to get him to come be on the show. He's very excited. He knew all about the show. He wants to come on. He gave me his phone number. Marissa,
he's been at the Mississippi Book Festival.
I know he came.
Before.
I think he came last year.
2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago. He's great. It's just a beautiful book. And did he bring any samples?
Yes, we had a Randazzo's. We had 4 flavors of the Randazzo bakery.
And that's a good one.
That's a good
I had one at a tasting at Donna Barksdale's, and that was one of the ones that we had. I don't know what the name of the filling was, but it was gooey, and I do like goo.
They brought a strawberry, a pecan, and a custard, and a traditional, which is sort of the cinnamon roll style with the Anyway, there's so much to know about king cakes. I had no idea, and this part of the world is obsessed.
Truly.
With king cakes.
I had one on Friday.
And it's only Mardi Gras is not until March 4th. So we got another month.
I know we do. And the one I had on Friday was from Broad Street Bakery in Jackson. It was delicious.
And guess who will be on the show next week?
Jeff Good.
And we will talk about those Broad Street
And we
cakes.
will tell him to bring, because we do like samples.
We do love samples.
And I read that Robert St. John is doing these king cake pop-ups all around South Mississippi, all over the state, and we'll do one in Jackson next week. So we'll watch for that.
Yes, it's if you're not plugged into the phenomenon of king cakes, the history, the background, the backstory, and there's all of this, chatter about what's the best king cake and is this really a king cake or is this not a king cake? It's amazing and it's endless. So stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, for more about the king cake. Another item I wanted to share, on February the 18th, Carol, I will be making a presentation at Tylertown at the Walthall County Library at 5 p.m. And I do this talk for the Mississippi Humanities Council's Speakers Bureau called Mississippi Foodways. So I'll be doing that, and I'll remind y'all later on February 18, 5 p.m., Tylertown, if you're in that part of the world, at the Walthall Library. So, hey, we had a great shout-out from Chico Harris, who's a great friend of the show. And
he's actually our Northeast Mississippi correspondent.
Bureau chief. Right. And he posted an ad, an old newspaper ad about the Chatterbox Cafe in Tupelo. And he was describing this old, I guess it was a soul food cafe. He remembered it from his childhood. He remembered the burgers, the vinegary mustard sauce. I guess it was a slug, maybe not. And he talked about B.B. King and Elvis coming out of the jukebox. Well, actually, B.B. King, he didn't say Elvis was coming out of the jukebox. But anyway, and in his post, he also talked about our show, and we appreciate that. Chico, we're always happy to hear from you.
Yeah, and to our listeners, go on our Facebook site, Cooking and Coping, and see Chico's posts. It's great to see these old school ads. I love it that they feature very largely that the Chatterbox Cafe is air conditioned. So that must have been a big thing. And also, the fish on the plate is smiling.
I love it. Well, Chico, again, much like Matt Haynes, is a great researcher, a historian, and really shares a lot of great information, much like our guest who's coming up in the next
segment. And who is the Northwest Mississippi correspondent.
See how we have covered the state?
Yes, we have. Mm-hmm. And speaking of soul food, I had a wonderful experience this weekend. You've heard me talk so much about Lee's Heavenly Barbecue and Soul Food in Edwards.
Yes, I know Lee's.
And I would say that Renita Miles Lee, the owner, her food lands on our lunch table at least 3 times a week.
At your home?
At my home in Edwards. Mm-hmm. Mostly for my husband, who, as we know, loves to eat well.
He loves to chow down.
Yes, he loves to chow down.
And you love to stir the pot, as does Miss Lee.
Yes, and Miss Lee, Renita, and her daughter Monique wanted to bring us dinner, and she's been talking about this for a few weeks every time we go in, and she said, I want you and Mr. Palmer to have a date night.
Oh, boy.
And I thought she was just going to drop off some wonderful food. But no, no, no.
Oh, no.
They came with chef jackets on. She was so prepared, had like a little cart with all their catering things, and proceeded to do this beautiful dinner. And they even printed
you had a menu.
She printed a menu, and we had crab stuffed mushrooms, and then a beautiful seafood bisque with lobster and codfish, a berry spinach salad, and then, man, Malcolm, it was a plate. It was like surf and turf.
A lobster.
It was butter-baked lobster, lamb chops, and crab legs. It was like the ultimate surf and turf.
Well,
so
what was the occasion? Just friendship?
Just friendship. Renita and I have worked on a few projects in Edwards together. She's kind of the community gatherer upper and does good things. She does book bag giveaways for the kids in the summer, and there's just always some giving back going on in her life.
Correct.
So.
Well, excellent. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break, and then we're going to bring on Stafford Shurden, who's a great friend to the show. We'll save the intro for the intro to the next segment. But Stafford's coming on, and we're going to catch up with him. He's got so much going on. It's incredible. Farmer, restaurateur, former judge. And he is a social media phenom. But anyway, we'll talk more about that when we get him on the mic. So don't go away. Just take a short break. Right back with Stafford Shurden and more Deep South Dining right here on MPB Think Radio. Welcome back to Deep South Dining. Malcolm White, Carol Palmer, and you are tuned to MPB Think Radio, or you're podcasting, or you're streaming the show on Sunday. Whatever you're doing, we're really glad you're here.
And Malcolm, did you read that Nashville is our #1 city for downloading Deep South Dining?
I saw that.
Followed by Jackson. Hello, friends in Nashville.
I saw that, yes. Isn't that interesting?
Do you think Thomas Williams has anything to do with that?
Well, you know, we have these bureau chiefs, and
yes.
In Nashville, Thomas is the bureau chief, so I think he's working the market really
well.
And
he's also the one that took cooking and coping from 3 people to 500 people in a day, because he has the best food Rolodex of anybody we know.
That he does. All right, we're going to welcome Stafford Shurden to the show. He's a farmer, a restaurateur, a former a justice judge, and he is an incredible poster on social media. He reviews gas station food. He does inspirational speeches, and he's our buddy. So welcome back, Stafford.
Man, it's good to be back. Thomas has been in my restaurant.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, if Thomas has been in your restaurant and given you a blessing, it's worth something.
I felt pretty special. I'm not going to lie. I think I got a blessing. He was in there with Mike Wagner, who's listening right now. He texts me. He's on the way to the coast listening to us.
Well, you know, Mike Wagner is one of our great heroes.
Absolutely.
I mean,
the rice baron.
He
the
is.
rice man. The rice
Yeah.
man cometh. And it's so interesting to see the people on Cooking and Coping that use his rice from all over the country now because of Cooking and Coping.
Yeah.
And the
because
stuff
his
he
rice
posts.
is so good.
Yeah.
Oh, man, his cooking is unbelievable.
Well, I saw he did kind of a Japanese thing this weekend with, I believe it was a tuna. It's just wonderful to see what he's doing.
It is.
Hey, Mike.
Stafford, you hail from Drew, Mississippi, and
big city.
You are a big cheerleader for Drew, and you often post things reminding people who's from Drew and what goes on there in your community. So talk a little bit about your hometown.
You know, Drew's one of those places that's in the heart of the Mississippi Delta, dead center. We're dead center of the Delta. And it's a much different town than what it used to be when I grew up. But there's still a lot of really good people in Drew. Of course, Archie Manning's from my hometown, and so many great people have come from there, and so many great traditions. It's not as much going on as it used to be, but we're, you know, I remind people we are still a town.
Right. Yeah,
you know
and you
I mean?
are a one-man Chamber of Commerce, Convention and Visitors Bureau, all of the above. But one thing I've noticed on your gas station food reviews is your Archie of Drew T-shirt that you wear from time to time.
There's a story behind that. In 1971, I had a big parade for Archie when he left to go to New Orleans. And there was a license plate that had that exact logo on it. So I had the shirts made based on that license plate. But I'm a Mississippi State guy, so I couldn't do the Ole Miss colors.
It's brown, so I mean that's very neutral.
Well, they're charcoal and gold. It's Saints. It's Saints colors.
Okay.
And I sent one to Archie with a note that said exactly that. I said, "Big fan. I've known you a long time. I don't really know Archie. He knows my parents. You know what I mean?" And I said, and I want you to have this shirt, and I'm sorry I couldn't put it in Ole Miss colors, but I thought Saints colors would do. And I got a nice response from it. It was pretty funny.
Well, Malcolm, have you received a T-shirt from Stafford that
I have
says
not
Archie
gotten
Drew?
my Archie
I haven't
T-shirt,
gotten mine
so
either.
maybe next time. Now, when
I'll
we
bring
were
you
there, when we were there to be grand marshals of the Drew Mardi Gras parade. The inaugural
Right.
Drew Mardi Gras parade. Would have been a good time to snap a shirt, but
I will definitely bring y'all some T-shirts back. I try to wear them on most of my reviews because it's just people. So some people get confused by it, but when they give you that nod, you know they know. You know.
Right.
Yeah.
And that which is classic.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the reviews. What are they called? The gas station
Tailgate review.
Gas station tailgate reviews. And we've been watching them for several years now. And how many are there?
It's in the 190s. If I hit a bad one, a lot of people ask me why they don't see me do bad reviews. And y'all will understand this coming from the restaurant business. I don't feel right putting out bad reviews about people. So I've actually filmed probably around 225, and they just didn't make the cut. So either they make the cut or they don't. And, we're in the 190s now.
That is fantastic. And, you know, one thing that makes you give them good reviews is when you go there, you already know somebody has recommended it or you have heard
100%.
something about it. So it's not like you're just wandering in off the street.
So when I first started, I did a lot of wandering in because I didn't have that many people following me. But, now I've got a great following, and I can say, hey, I'm going to Charleston, South Carolina.
right.
And they say, go to Coachai, go to Seawee Outpost or wherever. And they're going to be, I know they're going to be not bad. You know what I mean? Just like you said. And I look for, if 4 or 5 people recommend a place, and I say I'm going to Biloxi and 4 or 5 people say go to Fayard's,
Yeah.
I'm going to go to Fayard's.
Right.
which, by the way, is a great place.
It's a fantastic po' boy place.
It really
in
is.
a gas station.
In a gas station.
Now, when you started, correct me if I'm wrong, when you started, you were more or less a Mississippi podcast. You were around Mississippi. Now you've really moved out, much like this radio show. We're about the Deep South, and you cover the whole South now, right?
I've been the furthest that we've gone. I drove 1,100 miles to Key West, Florida, with my daughter, the oldest daughter, Mary Stafford, and we did Dion's Quick Chick, which is, by the way, really good fried chicken. I mean, we just wanted, honestly, I only went there because I was in Key West.
Yeah, you just wanted to go to Key West.
Yeah, that was the truth of it.
It's a long drive.
I'm going to tell you, that's a pretty good clip.
I've driven it. Have you?
No.
I have driven to Key West.
It's a beautiful drive.
You got to have time, and you can't be impatient and nervous and squeamish, but you got to.
Or jumpy like
We
me.
hit a lot of gas stations on the way, so we made a big deal of it. And she's a diver. I have a license. I'm not a diver, so we dove while we were there. So we had our diving clothes on, and did the review. And true story, everybody says, go there. So where everybody goes, they go out on the water, they get drunk to go to Dion's Quick Chick. A drunk hit my truck in the parking lot on camera. So he says, please don't put it out. And so you see his vehicle, but I don't put him on camera.
Now I'm going to have to dig through and find that one.
Yeah, we got to go back and look at that.
Dion's Quick Chick in Florida, so it's easy to find.
Malcolm, one of the reviews that I really loved, and I thought about you, and I think we need to go here, is Nesbitt's One Stop.
Home of Jerry Lee Lewis.
Well, yeah, and they have chicken and dumplings.
On a
It's
stick?
their gas
On
station.
Tuesdays.
On Tuesdays. I
Okay.
mean, it just shows the world of gas station food.
What's
is
crazy is I
expanding.
did 2 gas station reviews. That was last week, actually. The same day, and they both had chicken and dumplings that day.
Huh. Maybe there's something about a Tuesday.
But that is
I don't know.
so crazy. It used to be gas station food was just a couple of deep fried things in a gas station.
Potato
Now,
logs.
it's just the gastronomy.
Fried smothered. I did at the first one. I did fried smothered pork chops. It hadn't come out yet. And then the second one, I did the chicken. While I'm filming, a guy pulls up and says, "Hey man, I watch you all the time. Go down to Nesbitt and get these chicken and dumplings." And so I did.
You have to eat a lot when you do what you do.
I try not. I've got a little bit of a weight problem, but I try to only eat a little bit because I know I'm probably going to film 2 or 3 times in a day.
So, how many followers do you now have for the tailgate piece of this?
It's 30-something thousand on TikTok and 30-something thousand on Facebook. I don't really know. Not as many on YouTube and all of that, but the rest of them. Those 2 is where most people watch me.
Right.
But then I can tell you this, I do about 1 million views a month.
Gotcha.
On average, between all the platforms.
And somehow you own and operate a restaurant and you farm.
I own a restaurant.
For example.
I don't know how much operating I do. The girls are there today. I'm on the group chat with the ladies at the restaurant, and they're what didn't come on the truck and all. I'm privy to it. I don't really do a whole lot. They tend to that, and they do a really good job.
The food is fantastic.
Yes, we've eaten there. I wanted to ask you about the fried chicken because
Okay.
I'm just what I like. So the other day you posted about the famous fried chicken. Tell me how you do your chicken. Do you brine it?
We do.
And please explain to our listeners how you brine.
Very, very simple brine.
Mm-hmm.
It's water with a little bit of apple cider vinegar. We put a few seasonings in it, but it's mainly about the water and apple cider vinegar. And then when
salt?
A little bit of salt, yeah.
2%, something like that?
Oh, yeah, something low, because the salt's mostly coming from the breading.
Gotcha.
And actually, a company here in Jackson makes our breading for us. It's Will Dotley. His folks used to have Dotley Spice Market in Vicksburg, but it's Weave Seasoning now. And
So so you use there.
I use theirs.
So you brine overnight?
Overnight. And
Drain?
we don't completely drain it. We want it to be
leave
really
it wet.
damp when it goes into the breading mixture.
So it goes straight from the brine wetness into your breading.
And we'll throw
to the fryer.
So Nisha fries the chicken every day, and she will drain most of the brine off, just where it's enough to cover it, and then she puts a little bit of that in the breading into the brine right before she batters it.
Okay.
And it does. I don't know what it does. It's not much in there, but it just makes it better. I can't explain it. It's some science there I don't understand.
That's
so
good.
what days is the restaurant open?
Every day but Saturday.
Okay.
Drew shuts down and rolls up the streets on Saturday. I don't know what happened.
Because it's a farm town?
I don't know. You know, I really couldn't tell you. We tried doing Saturdays a few times, and I know a lot of the folks that follow me on TikTok and Facebook would love me to be open on Saturdays. And maybe we can broach that subject again since I'm getting those kind of followers. But the local people don't eat with us those days.
Yeah.
And then we have a big church crowd on Sundays, just buffet.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't do a full menu on Sundays.
Well, Drew has to do it different because most Delta restaurants close on Mondays.
We used to close on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and we're open today. Red beans and rice Monday with fried chicken. That's what we do every Monday.
Yeah.
Of course. And then she'll have a little something else with it too, and we do short order.
You know, Malcolm, we should do a remote broadcast from there
We should, yes.
on a fried chicken day.
Well, every
Day's a fried
every
chicken
day,
day.
but now you know in the Delta, we got this thing called fish and spaghetti on Friday. So every day but Friday is fried chicken, and so you have choices, but fried chicken's there every day. But Friday,
So catfish spaghetti on Friday.
fish and spaghetti on Friday.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I love catfish and spaghetti. Are you still doing the Mardi Gras parade?
March 2nd.
You're still doing it?
It'll be this year. It'll be March 2nd.
And who is your grand marshal? I cannot imagine that
we
we weren't invited again.
We have not. I've been so behind. They've been on me. Who are you going to ask to be Grand Marshal? I hadn't even asked anybody yet. Y'all are more than welcome to come back and be Grand Marshal because I have not asked a soul. And we've tossed around a bunch of. I have had so many things going on, and Bryce, that handles kind of our events, has been like, okay, you got to pick somebody for Grand Marshal. It took me. I think we just picked the date, and it was really hard. That's a Sunday. It was really hard to figure out when to do it because you got the gin show. It's late this year.
Yeah.
You know, Mardi Gras is not until
The 4th.
The 4th,
Tuesday,
Fat Tuesday.
Fat
And we
Tuesday.
tried it on Fat Tuesday once and did really well. That's actually was the biggest crowd we ever had was on a weekday, but a lot of people can't do it on a weekday.
Well, you said that was the time of the gin show.
Oh yeah,
Now,
so
we're not talking about
We're talking about farm talk
Maybe-
here.
maybe-
Tell
I
the
should
people.
clarify.
Tell the people what the gin show is.
the Mid-South Farm and Gin shows in Memphis, Tennessee every year at Cook Convention Center, and a lot of farmers will be gone for the gin show that weekend.
What
So
does one do at a gin show?
It's just a big expo.
A farmer
And-
expo.
Yeah, it's a farm. So they'll have equipment. They'll have all kind of tool makers. They'll have meetings where you can go listen about markets and stuff like that.
Okay, I get that. I was thinking
And
about
Corky's Barbecue will cater it. They'll have little
how to
Corky set up everywhere.
recreate a gin
It
in the
is-
show.
It's probably 7 or 8 football field size. It's a bit. I mean, it's all of the Cook Convention Center in Memphis, which is a big center.
So
Yeah.
farmers come from all over.
All over.
Yeah.
All over cotton growing area.
All right. So you have a new podcast
I do.
to share with us and our listeners.
As if I didn't have enough
As
going
if,
on.
if what we've spoken of so far isn't enough. You have a new podcast. Please tell us about it.
Breaking Bread with Stafford Shurden, and it's just something about sitting down and having a meal with somebody that is, I think of it as biblical. It breaks down barriers, and we living in a world right now where everybody's got different ideas, and you know, you see all the arguments online, and so I want to sit down with people that I care about and love, but also maybe people I don't agree with. And just the one thing I've learned about podcasts, and one beautiful thing about a podcast, is when you sit and listen to somebody for an hour and a half, 2 hours, you go, maybe I had a wrong impression about this person.
Or maybe I really like this person.
Exactly. Yeah, you find out things about people you didn't know.
Well, I listened to your podcast when you were with Mississippi Meemaw, and you introduced me to Mississippi Meemaw. Obviously, I'm living under a rock because I had not heard about her. So why don't you tell our listeners about this particular podcast and about her? She is a Mississippi celebrity now.
She really is. So her big claim to fame, well, she was kind of Mississippi famous before this happened.
And where's she from?
She is from South Mississippi. I can't remember which little town.
Near Kokomo, Purvis, that area.
Exactly, around Hattiesburg area. And she goes to Sonic and orders pickles in her Dr. Pepper. She films it, the whole thing with her ordering it and all, and it goes viral. 4 million views later. She's on the Today Show, like her video, not her personally, but it's everywhere you look, there's Mississippi Meemaw. And I asked her on the podcast, she probably heard this, I said, what was it like being everywhere? She said, it really wasn't that great. She said, we talk like we do and everybody's making fun of it and stuff. Right. But I think actually it was kind of cool. Like Sonic sent her a Sonic ice maker and Dr. Pepper sent her all this stuff. And because of that video, you can now go to Sonic and there is a pickle add-on button for drinks nationwide.
There you go.
Is that wild?
That is wild.
Now, I have never had pickles in a Dr. Pepper.
I
Carol,
still
have
haven't.
you? Have you tried it?
No, I only learned about this listening to the
Okay.
podcast. I haven't had time to rush right out to Sonic.
Well, I thought of the Coolickle when
Yeah.
I heard about it. I thought it was marinated pickles in Dr. Pepper. But oh no, it's sliced dill pickles like one would find on a hamburger.
It's a condiment, Malcolm.
Yes.
Added to a drink, to a Dr. Pepper in this case.
I'm assuming there's a little pickle juice that goes in there too.
Yeah, you're doctoring up the Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
Wow. And it's now nationwide.
You can order, that's my understanding is you can go to any Sonic and order this now. Which
Well,
is,
there you have it.
I don't even really like Dr. Pepper. That's going to get me some hate. I'm not a Dr. Pepper guy. I'll drink them, but that's not my drink.
Not my drink either.
Yeah, well, I am a Dr. Pepper person, and
Let's
I can
see.
hardly wait to do this. Okay, when you were on your podcast with Mississippi Meemaw and you went and did your gas station tailgate review, you went to a place called Reagan's Corner.
Correct. Supposedly, they're the inventors of the chicken on a stick, but I think that Penn's also claims that.
They do claim it, but
That they did it at the Mid-South Fair or something first.
if not the state.
The state fair.
Mississippi
Yeah, it was the
Fair.
state fair, I think.
As
So,
we
yeah.
learned, you can say anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's we claim the fried ribs at the restaurant, but I don't think the first time I'd ever heard of fried ribs at a restaurant was at a place in Drew, but I don't think we really originated.
And then there's the floating hamburger, which is a Delta thing, right?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if
You
it
don't
is
know
or
much
not.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some research for you.
Yeah, we did a chili cheeseburger, which every little dairy bar in the Delta used to have a chili cheeseburger.
Mm-hmm.
That was their number one seller.
Hmm.
And then you kind of get out of the South and say chili cheeseburger, and they go, "What in the world?"
Right.
I'm like, you put it on a hot dog. Isn't that the same?
Well, you're putting, in many cases, beef on beef. It seems a little
Well,
odd, but not to us.
I didn't realize that chili cheeseburgers weren't around much anymore.
I don't see them as much.
But you still have some up in the Delta, because those are delicious.
Oh, yeah.
It really is.
Oh, yeah.
Well, what made this chicken on a stick different?
Well, so most of them that I see, and Dodger Store has one, they call it a kebab.
Right.
So it's literally on the same thing you'd put meat on a grill, the kind of bamboo skewer. And most of
With
them
vegetables,
you see,
onions,
yes.
peppers, that sort of stuff.
Well, here's the controversy.
Here's the
here.
kicker.
All right. Ole Miss has a place, or Oxford has a place called Four Corner Chevron.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The only thing on that chicken
Hangover
on a stick,
food.
exactly, is chicken.
Right.
And the Ole Miss faithful will say that what I had at Kokomo is not chicken on a stick because it has more than just chicken on it.
It's got the vegetables.
And that's a real big. Do you like it just chicken, or do you like it with potatoes and onion? I prefer it with all that stuff on it.
Oh, me too.
Now, potatoes I wouldn't want on mine, but definitely onions and peppers.
And pickles.
And pickles.
Yes.
Because that's a great use of a dill pickle right
Yes,
there.
it is.
You get a fried pickle, a fried onion ring, a fried
Yep.
pepper,
Yeah,
and
that
chicken on a
pickle
stick.
is a great counterpoint to
Yeah.
chicken.
I
I can taste
agree.
it now.
It is. Oh, it's so good. And I like the potato too.
There you go.
But you
So
got to
was
fry
the
it till it's
potato?
soft.
Yeah, was it real spiced?
No, and what a lot of places do, they'll put all this stuff together and they marinate it overnight. So it's marinated, and then it's more of a wet batter on a lot
As
of
a whole, it's marinated.
the whole thing.
the whole
whole-
thing.
Yep.
Man,
I don't know what they
oh,
marinated
man.
in. It's good.
I would guess it's something like Italian dressing, but
I
some
don't
sort
know.
of marinade. If anybody has a marinade for chicken on a stick,
Yeah, tell me. I'll serve it.
give us a holler, and we will we'll talk about it. And you can do that by, it's toll free, just dialing 1-877-672-7464. We'd love to hear from you and as we speak, we get a call. But no, that's and what else did you review at that particular podcast that Carol's talking about? Was it just the chicken on a stick?
I think we just did the chicken on a stick.
Okay.
Yeah, on that one.
Well, something I was looking at, somebody said, hey, have you tried the Philly cheesesteak somewhere? Do you remember where that was?
So I did a Philly cheesesteak. Y'all will love this story. I did a Philly cheesesteak in Bay Springs, Mississippi. Mm-hmm. I can't even remember the name of the store. And I waited on them to cook it. When I order, they definitely recognize me, which is, I don't really want to be recognized because I want to get the same experience everybody else does. And the lady that checked me out, she said, have a good day, baby, I love you. She said that to every customer that walked through that door. And I mentioned that, and you wouldn't believe the lives she's touched, the people that commented on that. Her name is La. If y'all go and see La.
I saw that you had like a GoFundMe or something, that she's had some medical trouble.
Now, that was probably Mama.
Oh, Mama, okay.
Unfortunately, I hate to tell y'all this, but Mama unfortunately has passed away. Soulful Deli in Daphne, Alabama, Fairhope, Alabama. One of the sweetest ladies you've ever met. And she did all the cooking in that place. And she prayed over the food with everybody that came in there. Just a wonderful woman.
Meet some wonderful people.
I've got a couple of callers. We'll start with Jerry in Brandon, Mississippi. Jerry's calling about slug burgers. What's up, Jerry?
Yeah, slug burgers, man. I thought I'd mix it up a little bit.
Yeah.
So, been to Corinth, not for the festival, just calling on customers, and stopped in and had a slug burger. The restaurant is like if you're going to turn and go off 45 and go to Corinth, don't turn right, turn left.
Okay.
And then it's right there. It kind of sits by itself.
It's the trolley.
Is it Dill's?
No, Dilworth's is the tamale place. There's a white trolley or
something like that. Yeah.
Slug burgers.
What I'm thinking about, slug joint. And then they do them at the drugstore.
Yeah. They do it at Borum Drugs. Jerry, what'd you think of the slug burger?
I loved it. And it was, that fries and the tea were cheap.
It was. Well, that's great.
But I see where it would get its name, slug burger.
Right.
It's not the slug. It's people are bringing nickels.
Yeah.
Correct. That's right. You got it.
Get a burger. So anyway, I just wanted to mix it up a little bit and see if you guys have any of y'all had a slug burger.
Oh yeah.
I have.
Not only have had them, but I grew up on them, and we talk about them.
Yeah, Malcolm grew up in Booneville, and Booneville and Corinth fight over who was the originator of the slug burger.
Well, it was the Weeks family.
I'm on Team Corinth.
Of course you are. You're married to a Palmer boy.
I'm not picking sides.
Jerry, thank you.
I'm a guest.
Thanks a lot, Jerry. Appreciate you listening and taking the time to call us. Stafford, do you ever run into a slug burger at a service station or when you're doing one of your reviews?
I don't think I know. We went to Tacopola store with Wright Thompson.
Right. They
had slug burgers, but that's not what we got that day. And then I did another place that was one of those that did not make the cut, and it was a slug burger. But I'm like, that's not. I don't know what happened there. So we won't talk more about that.
And Tapacola, did you eat at the little catfish trailer as well as the?
We just did the gas station. I heard that they're not even open for lunch anymore. I don't know if that's true. Maybe some of your listeners will know.
The catfish place.
The Tacopola grocery.
Well, Chico would know, but...
would Tacopola be a town?
It's a little town.
A little community.
Outside of Oxford.
Okay.
And,
Brown's Dairy is right there. I know y'all know about Brown's Dairy.
Brown's Dairy.
Right there on top of it.
So, anyway, we've got another caller. Carol, it's been a while. It's Mikey from Mobile. We haven't heard from Mikey.
From Mobile.
Hello, my friend.
Welcome.
How are you?
Good morning and happy Mardi Gras, everybody.
Happy Mardi Gras.
It just started in Mardi Gras land. The originator, we'll argue with the Louisiana folks later. But it started yesterday, I think. Anyway, but y'all are inspiring me so much. I'm having a hard time. I haven't been able to write it all down. Even though I use, Mikey E's, we should call it, which nobody else would be able to read.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. You have to develop it when you like to do stuff like this. But specifically, the things that y'all are talking about that have really, really interested me. I will have to listen to the Sunday repeat broadcast because I couldn't, of course, hear some of what was going on. But I am a big fan of George Washington Carver. The Peanut Master.
The Peanut Master, yeah.
And and being an Alabamian, and a Gulf Coaster, I'm especially interested in using things that grow well in these areas, and making, that's why I'm so fascinated with what y'all are doing. Okay, I've been experimenting lately with vinegars and making vinegars.
Wow.
And I've had, I'm doing pretty good so far. I mean, it's been a couple of years since I started before I started sharing it with other people, but they're kind of going, okay, keep it up.
Yeah, that's great because you can take a vinegar and turn it into a barbecue sauce, a mustard, or most anything, a salad dressing. So yeah, if you're
put it in your Dr. Pepper.
You're creating your own vinegars. That's great.
I've been experimenting with everything, carbonation type things, but primarily I'm interested in starting with the base of the vinegar itself. And, the Asian stuff, it's like, and the Mediterranean stuff. And, it's just fascinating to me. And then you take it and you make the concentrates, and then you can take it and dilute it however you want to.
Right.
That's where you see the carbonation things. Anyway, then you put it on these other things that we grow, or mix them with other things that we grow here. So I don't want to talk too much about it.
Okay.
Because who knows?
But
somebody
thanks.
might want some of this.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing about your journey with vinegar. And we always are happy to hear from you, Mikey and Mobile.
Oh, and vinegar is also, great for drinks, as you have pointed out. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Carol, you have Stafford's top 25 and 24.
I've got
What do you have over
his
there? You
top
have a list.
6 of
Top 6
2024.
of
I have
24.
just been waiting to ask you.
You'll have to remind me what I said.
I will, but I am fascinated. Your number 1 was a fried peach pie from Bloodworth.
I didn't do them in necessarily any particular order.
And I want to know where Bloodworth is.
So Bloodworth, I feel like I've done everything at home. You know what I mean? Bloodworth's only like 30 minutes from my house. I never knew there was even a community called Bloodworth.
Oh, it's a community.
So Bloodworth is a community, and the only thing there's Bloodworth store. It's been there for 100 years. There's a nice little, if you get the full video, there's a nice little story in the beginning of how that guy hocked his land out because they needed a store in the community. But it's near Charleston, Mississippi, right up from Casilla, that's another really small one a lot of people are not going to know. And somebody said, hey, you got to try this fried pie.
That was the most beautiful fried pie
it was well
I have
done.
ever seen. It
I
was
do love
gorgeous.
a fried pie. All right, number 2.
You gave it a 9.2.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Number 2.
Okay, and this one's for you, Malcolm.
Okay.
It was bacon on a stick, and it was from Highway 90 Express in Biloxi. Tell us about it.
So there's a chef, you may know, Malcolm, there's a chef that opened that owns a restaurant down there. And so they have shrimp and grits for breakfast. This bacon
9.6 shrimp and grits.
Bacon, I mean, it's like the Peter Luger's side of bacon that you can get.
Yeah,
it's not that thick, but it's very thick, and it's just coated with brown sugar and baked, and it's not crispy. A lot of people want their bacon crispy. This is more gelatinous, but it works with the brown sugar. And I was just like, give me 8 of those right now.
It's on a
on
skewer.
A stick. Yeah, I've seen it. I recall. Yeah.
And his number 3 was at the same place, Shrimp and Grits. Right. Shrimp and Grits at a gas station.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, that's good.
And it is a breakfast version. Don't think it's going to be like a New Orleans dinner version. It's a breakfast version.
Right.
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay, number 4 was a burger from Dunwoody, Georgia. And it was one of your highest rated items of the year.
I'm in love with this place. It's called NFA Burger Dunwoody, which is really saying Atlanta. Mm-hmm. You're really in Atlanta. They were voted #1 burger in Atlanta like 3 or 4 times. Like you see these thrill lists, and they come out like top 5 in America over and over and over. And it's in a Chevron in Dunwoody. And I actually gave a speech on menu development in Las Vegas, and I called the guy that owns it because we've become friends after the review came out. I said, give me one quote because I think you do such a great job with your business. And he said, I would rather do one thing perfectly than many things imperfectly. And he makes the perfect burger. That's all they do.
Wow.
All they do. And you said it's a smash patty.
It is a real, like we call ours a smash patty, but they really feather those edges. They got that thing. They feather those edges out. So it has that little
very
lacy
thin.
edge.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Crisp on the edges.
It's so good.
You heard it here.
Was that number
NFA
4?
Burger.
Was that number 4?
It was.
Okay,
and
number 5.
the rib tips at Greg's for best
Greg's
barbecue.
in Shannon, Mississippi. Yeah, that was. It is you talking about a hole in the wall. And Shannon is real close to Tupelo. It's
Shannon Red Raiders.
Is that what they're called?
We used to play them in sports because we were in the Tom Bigby conference with Shannon.
That's awesome.
Tough bunch.
They're good. They're tender. They're just the right amount of little bit of barbecue sauce, but not much. They're good.
You were really getting into it.
Yeah. I like rib tips. I prefer rib tips probably over ribs, honestly.
Not me.
Yeah.
Number 6.
Number 6, you called it the best historical stop, and it was Franklin, Tennessee. And I'm really interested in this. Malcolm, he had a BLT with 10 slices of bacon.
Why 10?
Speak it.
That's what they put on it. I don't know.
10 slices.
So, friend of a friend. This is the greatest friend of a friend name drop I'm ever going to give.
All right.
So I posted that I was going to Nashville, and Ben Napier texted me and said, you need to go to the Davis General Store. And so I look it up, and they got this thing with 10 slices of bacon. I'm on the way there, and he texts me, by the way, Stapleton told me to send you there.
Oh,
and I was like, well, how can you not go now? And by the way, I do not know Chris Stapleton, but I was like, that's a pretty good name drop for a radio show one day. And here we are.
You saw him last night on the Grammys. You're hearing about him today on Deep South
And
Dining.
you could see him eating a BLT with 10 slices of bacon in Franklin, Tennessee at Davis's.
There's like 3 or 4 general stores, all gas station general stores, real close together. Huff's is another great one. I actually filmed there, and the video, it was good, but the video didn't actually come out. So I'm going to have to go back. But it's like so many cool little 100-year-old general stores. They're perfect.
All right, we've got a caller from Northeast Mississippi to share a little bit about the Takapola grocery store. It's Chico Harris in the flesh. Hello, Chico.
Good morning, y'all. I want to tell you something extremely unique about Takapola Grocery. And it's not that they have such fabulous catfish, because there are places like Taylor Grocery that also have fabulous catfish. And it's not that they have such wonderful desserts, because we know bakeries all over Mississippi that have great desserts. And it's not that they're open for lunch Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. What it is about Takapola Grocery that I think is so cool and unique is, like a lot of restaurants, you can get this. They give you this large plastic cup that's at least 18 ounces, and I figure they do that for Archie. But they give you this large plastic cup, and it has the Takapola Grocery logo on it, which is really cool. And when you first sit down, they come to your table, and the first thing they ask you is, do you want a red cup, a white cup, or a blue cup? And I've never heard of another restaurant giving you that option.
Ain't that America?
Ain't that America with great food, too.
Hey, Chico, how about those catfish? Is it just on Catfish Friday or every day? Oh, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
I'm going to tell you, I've stopped there and got the whole catfish for lunch. I'm not real sure about the particulars you're asking about. But there's a wonderful woman there named Sandra Carlisle. She will take your telephone calls and tell you everything there is about Takapola Grocery. But let me tell you, Takapola Grocery does really. I know there's lots of places with extreme good catfish. But Takapola Grocery is right up there in the, I can count them on one finger. It's a really, really good place. And, of course, the tail is the best part.
Yeah, the crispy tail. They include the tail.
Yeah. Cool.
So it's a whole fish.
Yes. Oh, well, you can get that other stuff, too.
You can get the fillets for those that don't want to get their hands dirty.
Malcolm, it's been such an honor to have both the Northwest Mississippi and Northeast
on
Mississippi correspondents, bureau chiefs.
By the way, do y'all know each other?
We do not.
Okay.
No, we don't. No.
Look, I need his phone number. I'm not even joking.
He knows everything.
Yeah, he can hook you up in Northeast Mississippi.
Every cultural tidbit there is to know about Northeast Mississippi. This fella is a cornucopia of info. Chico, thank you.
Yes,
thank you for listening. Thank you for calling, and thank you for all that you do. We got about a minute left, Carol.
This has been so great having Stafford. He's such a great friend, and we just appreciate you driving down this morning. You didn't just dial it in.
No,
I have a feeling he'll stop somewhere and get gas and something to eat.
Maybe.
Well, thank you so much. It's great to have you here. Deep South Dining is a production of Mississippi Public Broadcasting's Think Radio, and we are funded by generous contributions from listeners like yourself. Our show is produced by Marissa Vaughn. For our very special guest, Stafford Shurden, for my co-host, Carol Palmer, I'm Malcolm White. We ask that you now stay tuned for Marshall Ramsey's program, followed by Southern Remedy at 11. And we would ask you to join us next Monday and every Sunday as well for more Deep South Dining. You can also podcast it, heard right here on MPB Think Radio.